Hi there, and welcome back to the channel. So, look who's back. The return of the Schecter. 1985 Dallas built Schecter with the original Super Rock pickups, and I'm hoping some vintage Van Nuys parts. I think that the tuning pegs, the bridge, and the pickups were all original. The rest was done in Dallas after the company was sold. Schecter sold it to some investors. They took it to Dallas. And I believe this is I know that this is a C&E body, whoever C&E was. This is 1985. And it's a maple neck, 725 radius. It's like a proper Fender neck. So it could have been made by ESP or whoever was making, Fender necks over in Japan back in the day, is my guess on the neck. But man, this is a great guitar. And it was my original band guitar, like the heights that I ever had as far as music business and all that kind of stuff was with this guitar. Like, publishing deal offers and record deals, all of that happened with this guitar. I wrote the songs that, propelled me the most probably with this guitar. So I really love the guitar. I have not been playing it the past few years because I went straight, well, for years I was playing my Les Paul Custom, and my last album, the first kind of solo record, the Dynamite Death Show record, was all done on that Les Paul Custom, and I love that guitar. But I started feeling like I was trapped as a player with that guitar, and I wanted to get into Stratocasters after discovering one. And so this is kind of a nice in-between state. So I have my Strat, which is what I'm kind of like obsessed with right now, and I'm writing most of my new songs with. But this baby here, I can still play it like a Strat. I'll let you hear it in a second. I can still play it like a Strat, but it covers the ground that the Les Paul Custom covered in a much more usable way. My main problem with the Les Paul Custom is it's a beautiful guitar. It's my favorite. Every time I get it out, people ooh and ah. It always photographs well. It's just like a great guitar. It sounds great. But I'm always worried about breaking the thing. I'm like worried I'm going to snap the headstock off. And it's in great condition. It's a '86 model, which is the year I graduated from high school. I wrote that whole album on it, recorded that whole album on it, so it's sort of retired for live use because I just don't want to see something bad happen to it. And the Schecter, I didn't know when I bought this guitar. I bought it for $200 in 1990 here in Columbus, Georgia at Coliani. And oddly enough, I just had it repaired at what is now called Everything Musical, which was once Coliani. They helped me do some electrical work there. So it's just kind of cool the way things, go in a circle in life. But what the Schecter does is gives me that Les Paul tone, but with Fender kind of playability. Because what I sort of discovered about myself as a player is I was really excited by the Fender style of playing, like the way you play on a Strat. It's different from the way you play on a Les Paul. At least I don't play on a Les Paul the way I play on a Strat. When I pick up a Strat, I don't know, there's more bounce to it. I can do more like blues type licks on it and just bend more and just make a sound that I don't make on a Les Paul. But on this guitar, since it's got a Fender neck, 725 radius, unlike my other Strat, which is a 12-inch radius like a Gibson, I can play the Fender style, guitar parts on it. It feels really comfortable. I think it looks great. I love the color. It's beat up in the perfect kind of way. Like, it presents really well, but it has lots of dings and stuff from just years of being on the road. This guitar toured with Jackal, so like we would open for Jackal. And so this guitar went out on Jackal tours, and if you know anything about Jackal, those are some tough shows. We played for unruly crowds, let's put it that way. And they didn't like us that much because we weren't, exactly the same genre or whatever, even though they were like Jesse was literally our manager and all that kind of thing, but we were two different styles of music. We were considered alternative, which was, an anathema to the people that loved the original kind of like, blues-based rock. That was, getting turned over in the 90s. So, yeah. But anyway, this guitar has been out there. I was a road warrior, and I just love it. I'm loving it more now that I understand guitars. It's a mahogany body, so once again, it's like a Les Paul in a Tele kind of form, which is pretty common, people putting humbuckers in here. But the Schecter story is a fantastic story. I made a video about it, and I'm still fascinated by that guy. And I think this is really cool because it's like the Super Tele thing. It gives you, it wouldn't be what I would do right now. Right now, if I was going to build a Tele or buy a Tele, I would want to, you know, like a 50s Tele, because I'm really fascinated by those as well, ever since I got into Fender so heavy. But at the current moment, this isn't the guitar I would buy or pick out, but it's the exact guitar I need, because this can cover all the stuff that I did on my Les Paul. But like I said, I got the Fender ability to play it, and I wanted to make a mention of it being repaired at Everything Musical here in Columbus, Georgia. I usually do my own rewires. They're always sloppy and crappy, but they get the job done, and I don't have to take the guitar out anywhere. But I was having trouble with my soldering iron, and I made a mistake with these Super Rock pickups. Now, when you're doing the push-pull thing, and you've got the 4-conductor thing, and this is supposed to be a push-pull guitar, I've converted it just to like a normal Les Paul style wiring if Les Paul's only had 2 knobs, meaning that they're just CTS pots 500K. Wired the regular way without the push-pull, mainly because I don't need this guitar to sound like, I don't think, it never sounded to me like a Telecaster in the first place. You'll see in a second. So pulling the pickups out, all it really did was just kind of thin the sound out a little bit. So like if you're trying to play light or thin, but that's not really what I do with this guitar. I play big like chords with this guitar, like the Pete Townsend thing. And, you know, and Pete used this guitar to replace his Les Pauls. That's kind of the Schecter history. He had bought all the parts from Schecter, and he had, I think, a guy named, not Pete Anderson, was it Pete Anderson put them together for him. And then the guy that ended up doing Suhr guitars, he also built Schecter guitars at Ruby, the guitar store in New York. So it's a really fascinating thing. It's like parts caster, Super Tele. But I love it. And it, like I said, it's not the guitar I would build or buy right now, but it's the perfect guitar to replace my Les Paul Custom Live, and it allows me to play like I'm playing my Fender. So let's say my Fender's down, or it's out of tune or something, I broke a string, and the rest of the night I got to play this thing, and I'm supposed to be playing all the songs I usually play on my Strat. This still works. It sounds different. It sounds more like the Les Paul, you'll see, because, you know, the pickups. And these Super Rock pickups sound fantastic. I should have measured them before I got here, but I think they're like around 15K. Because they were considered hot in their day. So somewhere between 12 and 15K. I measured them once and I forgot. But they're much hotter than what I usually use. On humbuckers I usually use the PAF kind of wind, that kind of low wind, like the Lawler Imperial kind of wind. And I have in my Les Paul Custom the Tim Shaw PAFs. And I love the way those sounds. I like the way lower wind humbuckers sound. And in my Flying V, which is in a state of kind of needs to be repaired, but I have Godow pickups on those, and those are also PAF wound, and I prefer that. But these sound good. They're hotter and nastier, and I just love it. I think this guitar has a lot of potential. I'm going to end up coming up with something, because I used to write on this guitar, so I'll end up coming up with something big and nasty, because it makes a big and nasty sound. But I forgot my tuner, so I kind of tuned it to itself, so forgive me if it doesn't sound perfectly in tune. But the original reason I got this guitar is I was seeing Pete Townsend playing it. I thought he looked really cool. If you go check out the Eminence front video, and then I found out that he was using it to replace his Les Pauls, and I got this for 200 bucks. So now it would be worth, I guess, over like 1,000 or something, maybe a little bit more just because of the history of Schecter. But the ones that are really valuable is the original Van Nuys, the ones that Schecter built himself. They usually have like exotic woods, like koa wood. There's a lot of gold hardware involved, and they brand the Schecter name into the pocket of the guitar. Totally different guitar, but this has the feel of it and some of the parts, so you get close enough for 200 bucks. All right, so this is the reason I got this guitar originally, because I used to play the song that I wrote called Downed. The band used to do like the Cheap Trick song Down, but it's a different song. But it was just a big D chord, you know, like Pete Townsend big D chord, and that's the reason I got this originally. So I'll play that just to show you the whole idea of the guitar, why I wanted it originally. It was just to make this sound. For the Down in My Death Chair record, the first song, Die Some. like a Les Paul to me, maybe a Les Paul Junior or a Special, because it does not have the maple cap, but we have a maple neck, so we got the maple and mahogany presence with the humbuckers, you know, and the Tele shape is kind of Les Paulish, you know, just missing the cap. Like I said, I can play some of my more blues kind of oriented riffy stuff instead of just those big chords, because it's like a Fender style neck and it has the same kind of feel as my Strat, even though it has like the sound of a Les Paul. So let's try that out. This is a bridge pickup, by the way. So let's try like a kind of lead thing in the bridge and see how it sounds. Nice and biting, kind of like a Tele, but once again more, just a little rounded, more like a Les Paul, a little thicker kind of tone. So let's try something in the neck pickup. Let's try the woman tone type of thing, you know, like the Clapton thing. I'm gonna in the neck pickup, roll it off. Let's see what that sounds like. Way cool. Let's go back to the middle. That was in the middle, by the way. What's nice is it's just sustained for days, and you can just hold it and just hang. Really cool for leads. Like, I'm used to single coils lately. You know, it just kind of drops off after a second. You don't have to worry about that with this. You don't get the note definition that you get from like a Strat or like a real Tele. It's more of that Les Paul tone, which has its own magic. So you just use them right, you know. Don't try to make one be the other. But I am excited that the neck does give me that kind of Strat feel, so that I'm not trapped in just the usual thing that I do with a Les Paul, which, you know, was awesome, but I just felt limited. Now that I can play a few things differently, I felt limited by it. But I really want to talk up Everything Musical, because they did a fantastic job on it. The guy Cody there is super talented. I saw some of his builds. They have like 3 of his completed guitar builds there. They were like, some of them were like, trying to remember exactly, but they were like Strat type bodies, T-shaped type bodies, and just like its own thing with some exotic woods and just like really high quality and like interesting ideas, you know, all around. So I was just really impressed with their work. And I took the guitar up there on a Friday because I had actually miswound them with the Schecter Super Rock pickups. You know, in any pickup that you're going to push-pull, you got 4 connections. You got the red one, which is your hot connection, the black, which usually goes to like ground, and then you have usually like a white and green. And usually, if you're not going to connect those to anything, you twist them together and tie them off. Well, I twisted off the other 2 wires, forgetting that with the Schecter it's different. That one of them is like a ground drain wire that you actually ground to the pot, and the other one is what you would use to connect to your push-pull. So I asked him, is that what was wrong? He's like, yes, because it was like going crazy. Sounded great, but one of the other pickups was screeching like crazy because it was like a hot wired connection. But anyway, he disconnected all that, cleaned up all the rest of this stuff, replaced the cap, and now it sounds amazing. And all of that was done within like not even 24 hours. I took it up there kind of late on a Friday and picked it up Saturday like by 1. So I was like super impressed, and like impressed with the store. All of the people that worked there, like super nice. And then he was like super talented with the guitar building. The guy who runs the department, all the guys that run the department. My son is actually having a saxophone repaired there. He's got a Yamaha Purple Label, ST60 something. And that is being repaired there as well, which is like a month-long repair job. It's like a major deal, completely rebuilding it. So I was just impressed all the way around. Like, it's not easy to get a saxophone repaired and get your guitar fixed like in one day, you know. It's not usually that easy to do. And our town isn't like a super big city or anything like that, so there's not like tons of, you know, different things going on. So whenever you find something like that, it's super exciting. So thank you, Cody, and the rest of the guys and ladies at Everything Musical right here in Columbus, Georgia. And I highly recommend that. I'm sure they have a Reverb page, and I think they actually do business on their website. So I'm going to post a link to them because, man, I'm just like, you don't find that, you know, you find people like this that are super nice and try to help you go above and beyond. You want to make sure you spread the word to other musicians, you know, because they sell online, I'm sure, and those that are in the Georgia, Alabama area should come by and check them out. They also do a open mic thing that they're super excited about. They have a really nice space, like with PA and everything. I think it got affected by, you know, the virus shutdown and everything, but now they're up and running again, and they were always, you know, pitching that when I went in there, so that's cool for them. And my friend Ken Aberle, the drummer, I ran into him once promoting. He does promotion for Dream Cymbals. He's like one of their musicians that goes and reps the product, and I ran into him there. So I already consider the place like a family place. But I'm just excited now. I've got a 2-prong guitar attack with my Ovation making a guest appearance every once in a while if I need like a clean guitar. But this will do the bulk of the early like kind of punkish, like quick hard rock songs, and then my Strat will do the newer stuff that I've been recording lately here on the channel, like all this stuff that's on the second record, and then like that's just the mood that I'm in now. And then I'm back into like going crazy for Jimi Hendrix again and watching documentaries about him and just letting him inspire me. God, it's just so much inspiration. If you, like, outside of the music, just like everything about it, like his approach to everything related to guitar playing, blah blah blah. So I love my Schecter Telecaster, Dallas era Schecter Telecaster, and I know a lot of other people that have these love them too. There's something magical about them. I think Eddie Vedder plays one of these too. another famous guy. I've noticed in a video, Rick Springfield video, he had almost like this exact guitar. So there's a few of them out there, but they're kind of rarish. And the way Schecter makes them now, they look fantastic and very similar. They're back to making them for like the past 10 years or so. But you don't get this real Fender headstock. You get like the kind of like what they have to do to get around the trademark and all that. So Schecter has to make their headstocks look kind of, you know, which is fine. Who cares? I'm sure you get used to it. And if you love the guitar, you start to get used to it and love it as it is. But I'm kind of a traditionalist when it comes to like headstocks and stuff. Even if I build the guitar or it's like some kind of parts cast or whatever, I want it to look a certain way, you know. Usually like the original design, because I don't think anybody's been able to better the Gibson or Fender headstock designs. They look the best, and it seems like everybody still prefers them if they have the choice. All right, so Schecter with the Super Rocks, straight into the Marshall 18-watt, pure rock and roll enjoyment, mixed with my Black Limit Stratocaster, built by Toby Russell. It's a rock and roll family, rock and roll trio. All right, next time.